Evening, the Christmas rush has officially begun in the N-Power Football League. For many teams, today saw the first of 5 games in just 22 days. It's a spell, of course, that could make or break a season as sides bag as many points as possible. Well, tonight we'll find out who kicked off the festive season with that winning feeling in the company of Leroy Rosenior. And here's a taster of what's coming up tonight. It was 3rd v 4th in the Championship's game of the day as Cardiff took on Middlesbrough. Could the Bluebirds extend their winning run and boost their own promotion hopes going into the festive period? The form team of the moment is Nick Barmby's Hull City. They were looking to enhance their own promotion credentials when Millwall visited the KC Stadium.
They were red and white, and they're guaranteed to be top of the tree at Christmas. There's no shortage of festive cheer here in a chilly old valley where League One leaders Charlton were hoping to wrap up yet more points with a win against Oldham.
And in the week that Preston parted company with Phil Brown, we've extended highlights of their game with high-flying MK Dons, a team that has Charlton very much in their sights. Well, we start in the Welsh capital where Cardiff are looking to continue their dramatic rise up the league table. Unbeaten in 11 in all competitions, Marky Mackay's New Look side began the day in 3rd, proving to be the dark horses this season. Their opponents were the team just below them, Middlesbrough, whose success has been based on the league's stingiest defence. Commentary from Lawrence Herdman.
A top 2 berth over Christmas is the target. 3rd place Cardiff City are the form team in the Championship with just 3 defeats all season. But Middlesbrough boast the best defensive record in the division. Only goal difference keeps them below Cardiff. Cardiff City make one change. Icelander Aron Gunnarsson returns in midfield. Slovakian Filip Kiss drops to the bench. Fullback Andrew Taylor turned down a new contract at Middlesbrough over the summer. Striker Kenny Miller has 7 goals and is one of 5 Scotland internationals in the Cardiff starting 11. Middlesbrough make 3 enforced changes. Marvin Emnes is ruled out with a hamstring injury, so there's a first league start for Bart Ogbeche. Tony McMahon is suspended, so Justin Hoyt returns, and Belgian winger Faris Haroun replaces the injured Marouane Zamama. Donald once more deep. Ogbeche's through the middle. Bailey's made a run. And Faroun had peeled away right. Decent ball, and here's Ogbeche. What a chance for the Nigerian. Lovely cross from Faroun to the near post. It was a clear sight on goal, and Mark Hudson challenged the Nigerian. The ball went over the bar, but that's a collision of heads, and it was nasty. Gunnarsson. And McNaughton might get onto this here. McNaughton's played it across there. Now, was that a foul by the goalkeeper? Jason Steele, who raced out of his penalty area. Here's McNaughton. Ooh, he clattered into the Cardiff City fullback. Momentum, perhaps. The Cardiff City fans certainly feel there was a case for a penalty there, but the referee, Graham Salisbury, waved away those protests. Perhaps a mistake, it was a poor back pass, and here's Ogbeche, and it's deflected, and Ogbeche has opened the scoring for Middlesbrough on his first start for the Borough. The Nigerian international with a deflected shot. Well, he's been ultra sharp in training this week. He's stayed behind for extra training sessions and finding the back of the net, trying to catch the eye of Tony Mowbray's manager. 1 sight on goal, 1 hit, slight deflection, and David Marshall is beaten for the first time in just over 5 hours. Right, battle royale going on in central midfield, and Gunnarsson wins the contest. Now Conway's back on the left side. Conway, left foot, driven across. Miller's on the far post, and well defended by Joe Bennett. Conway with an intelligent ball across the penalty area, found width, and Kenny Miller, well, it's a sort of position that he normally thrives on, and Bennett was alert. Delivery to the near post and flicked on and turned in! Cardiff City have an equaliser, and how Ben Turner will loaf that. It was his deflection that gave Middlesbrough the opening goal. But now the Cardiff City defender has restored parity. What a time to score your first goal of the season. And Turner, well, it was a scruffy connection. He won't mind about that. Lovely delivery by Whittingham, flicked on at the near post. Right man, right place. Conway continually, well, in fact it was Cowie over there. Arca challenged Cowie, and the Argentinian caught the Scot late, and it will be a free kick to Cardiff. Well, Arca came in from behind, he just bundled over Don Cowie. Whittingham's delivery, good delivery, the header was from Hudson and somehow kept out by a combination of defender and Jason Steele, and how close Cardiff City were to getting the noses in front. Robson, delivery, away by Hudson. And was that a push? Robson wins it, and Robson's gone for the return, and here's McDonald, goes under the challenge and the shot coming in. Oh, it was all hands to the pump there in that Cardiff City defence. First Hudson was involved, then Ben Turner. Well, Turner missed it there. McDonald went down under the challenge of Andrew Taylor. There wasn't a penalty given. The shot came in from Haroon, and excellent defending in the end by Ben Turner. And here come Cardiff City, and Miller might go alone here. Still Miller, neat back heel, Gunnarsson! Cardiff City are in front. It was brilliant from Miller, and Alan Gunnarsson with a cool finish from the Icelander. Oh, look at that, craft, precise, Cardiff in front. He was running away, the back heel back inside, and Aaron Gunnarsson, look at that for a back heel, and Gunnarsson just got in front of Steele. Well, Steele was brave, but Gunnarsson had one thing on his mind. Haroon is turning full circle, but there are two Cardiff City players around him. Haroon goes to ground, and the Belgian will win the free kick for Middlesbrough. Andrew Taylor, the offender. And Bates is up there, the Middlesbrough captain, and the free header from McDonald, and he couldn't find the target. And well, he might blow his cheeks because he was unmarked, and it goes down as a clear-cut chance. Good run by Hoyt, and he's got round the back here. Hoyt crosses, McDonald equalises for Middlesbrough. It was an incisive move by Tony Mowbray's side. Hoyt got away down the right, a pinpoint cross, and it was meat and drink for Scott McDonald. The Australian international has got Middlesbrough level. It was Bailey's ball that spotted the overlapping run of Hoyt. He got round the back, and he couldn't miss, could he? Far too much room for Hoyt. The Cardiff defenders went astray, and it was a simple finish by Scott McDonald on the near post. And Miller has beaten Bailey, and Miller has beaten a second defender. Another back heel, Whittingham! Great stop! Well, Steele just got a left hand to it, and the rebound is over the crossbar. It was Miller, and Miller again. He was running in one direction, the back heel to his man Whittingham. Whittingham's shot was parried. And there's a mistake there as Turner flew in, and here comes Robson. No, Betche's pulled away wide. Robson needs support now. The ball was behind Arca. Haroon's the target, and Haroon chests it down, and Haroon has scored a brilliant goal from Middlesbrough. It's a Belgian beauty to send the Teesside faithful into raptures here. Well, it was Arca's craft, and it evaded Turner. Lovely take on the chest, and how about that for a slide rule finish? Oh, that was lovely. It was classy, and it's a delight for Middlesbrough. And what an important goal that could be. Lovely ball, Robson's wide. Taylor for company. Still Robson. And then there's the ball to Haroon. Hoyt! Oh, saved it at the near post. And still not cleared by Cardiff City. Well, a fourth goal would have sent all 3 points for sure back to the northeast. Haroon unable to. Oh, did he hold back Mason there? Haroon, the Belgian. Well, he had his arm wrapped around Mason. Well, he certainly held him back, and it was a silly free kick to give away. Whittingham. Oh, how close was that? Oh, is it going to be one of those days for Cardiff City? He certainly bent it, and in the end it was a yard or so wide of the upright. And here's McNaughton, still McNaughton, who goes down under the challenge, and it's wide. Well, the Cardiff City players feel that Kevin McNaughton was fouled. Kenny Miller led the protests. There's a desperate search for an equaliser, and McNaughton was so close. Williams and Gested went for the ball. It fell to McNaughton. Was there a touch from Matthew Bates? And the shot from Mason was just wide of the target. And it's knocked on by Turner. Miller trying to find room. Gunnarsson teeing it up and knocked into the middle. Oh, Gested, what a chance! Well, the Cardiff City substitute. If that was time for a hero, and the French striker had a clear sight on goal, but he couldn't find the target.
We didn't go with a runner twice, and if you don't at this level against a team who won the Premier League 2 years ago, then they'll score goals. They're a good team that have come here, and if you don't match man for man, then you're punished, and that's what happened today.
Well, Farish is another player who's come from a different league. He's come from the Belgium league, and he works every single day on aspects of his game that we feel he needs to improve on. He's an amazing athlete. He's a fantastic lad, and he just delighted for him, really. You could see the joy when he scored because of the extra work he does after training with the coaches. Mainly with his heading, but his finishing, really, because he's got such fabulous attributes. He can get in the box and get back and do his job, and delighted for Farish. It'll be the first of many, I'm sure.
I think everyone in the stadium looked at it and couldn't believe it wasn't a penalty when Kevin McNaughton was cleaned out with the goalkeeper. I've looked at 5 different TV angles, and every one of them's looking at the same, that he kicks the ball by the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper takes him out. How that's not a penalty, I don't know in anyone's book. That changes the game.
We're really only all accumulating points at the moment, and when the real business end of the season comes round, March, April, when there's 10 dozen games left, that's when you'll take real notice of the league table and where you've got to go and be solid and make sure you don't lose, make sure other games you've got to go very positive and win. At the moment, we're taking each game as it comes. We're trying to accumulate points and position ourselves for a real good challenge.
Well, just like last season, Middlesbrough getting the better of Cardiff there. And considering we had 2 of the best defences on show here, Leroy, I mean, this was a surprisingly open contest, wasn't it?
It was an open contest, but I wasn't surprised by that. They have got good defences, but they've also got a lot of quality in both sides, and they showed that. I thought they might just stifle each other today, with it being such a big game. But it was an open, entertaining game from start to finish.
We heard from Malcolm Mackay there. He was complaining that they didn't have a penalty just before Middlesbrough scored, incidentally. So what do you think? Was Jason Steele guilty of bringing down Kevin McNaughton here?
Absolutely. I can't see why the referee didn't give it. I mean, don't worry about where the ball's gone. Yeah, it's going off the pitch, but the keeper catches McNaughton in the box, see him pleading his innocence. But as you said, he was guilty. And I really can't see why the referee didn't give that obvious decision.
When people talk about Cardiff this season, they say there's that lack of star quality compared to last season. There's more of a team ethic in force, I suppose. But, as, you know, in Peter Whittingham and particularly Kenny Miller, there are two stars here, aren't they? I mean, the build-up for that second goal for Cardiff, outstanding work from the Scotsman.
They've got some very good players. Peter Whittingham's been a very good player for Cardiff for a few seasons now, but Kenny Miller was an excellent signing, and it kind of annoys me. People talk about his work rate, but he's a Scottish international, and he's got great awareness about the way he plays. He creates space for other people, as he did there. He's got the awareness to see the run of Gunnarsson, who made 2 good runs to get into that position and was brave enough to get in there on the keeper Marshall. Just got there first, and you know, they showed that quality.
To a piece, you're never quite sure who was going to get the winner at the end. As it was, it's quite an unlikely source. You were quite surprised. Faris Haroun, he showed a tremendous amount of composure, didn't he, for this one?
Well, I haven't seen a lot of the lad. You know, he looks like just a straight defensive midfield player, but he makes a run forward here, and that chest control is top quality. The ball from Julio Arca is excellent, but you expect that from him. But Faris Haroun puts it in the right place, makes the finish on the second touch very, very easy, and it was just the quality goal that justified.
Great ball in.
That was a fantastic goal. But I mean, it just justified them getting the 3 points today, because they just had that tiny bit more quality in the game today.
Middlesbrough lost 3 of 22. Bart Ogbeche as well, incidentally, for his first goal, first game for Middlesbrough. He was brilliant, wasn't he?
Yeah, apparently played in the 02 World Cup.
He did for Nigeria.
For Nigeria, yeah. And he looked a real athlete. And you know, I've been saying that, you know, Middlesbrough needs someone who can just look, go in there when Emnis isn't firing all cylinders, and he certainly did that today.
Got a like for like there. Yeah. Well, let's round up the rest of the Championship now, with the leader Southampton not playing until Sunday against Portsmouth in what's been billed as El Clasico. We start with second place West Ham, who could go level on points with the Saints should they beat Barnsley.
A cliched script might say the Hammers' bubbles burst after 2 defeats in a row, but fortunately this programme has more class than that. Like West Ham, who scored after 6 minutes. Mark Noble with the corner, Papa Bouba Diop on hand to head home his first goal in English football for exactly 6 years. Barnsley, who lost 5-3 to Ipswich in that amazing match last weekend, sprang into action, with Craig Davis making space, but Rob Green making the save. After the break, the Hammers had Green to thank once more. Rob Edwards this time denied. The introduction of Freddie Sears midway through the second half gave the home side some much-needed impetus, but he couldn't find a way past Luke Steele with this effort. As the game drew to a close, West Ham thought they had a penalty when Sears was brought down by James O'Brien. Referee Scott Matheson disagreed, and when Sam Allardyce aimed a kick at some plastic bottles in frustration, the referee sent him off.
A very valuable 3 points, and of course, under the circumstances, a fantastic win, and puts the 2 defeats on the trot behind us now, and let's move forward on an undefeated run if we can.
Local boy does good would be an apt description of Nicky Barmby's reign so far as Hull caretaker manager. 4 wins in 6 have seen the Tigers move within reach of the automatic promotion places. However, as far as this fixture's concerned, it's the Lions who are the kings of the jungle, having not lost a league game to City since 1987, and they were on the back foot early on as Steve Mildenhall kept out Matty Fryatt. Later in the first half, Fryatt did manage to beat Mildenhall, but an eagle-eyed assistant referee spotted the striker in an offside position. In contrast to Hull, Kenny Jackett's side have won just 1 of their last 6, form that's seen them flirt with the relegation zone. Brian Howard's free kick, a gentle reminder not to write them off yet. 9 minutes after the restart, the deadlock was broken. Confusion between Mildenhall and his defensive colleague Shane Lowry resulted in Robert Corran's cross being turned into his own net by Jack Smith. Now, Millwall's last goal on their travels came in a 3-0 win at Leicester back in October, and but for the crossbar, Paul Robinson's header might have ended that dismal run. As for this game, it was Corran who eventually scored Hull's second 10 minutes from time, the Slovenian international notching his 4th goal since Barmby took over as caretaker manager, a title he may make permanent very soon.
We've been straight up and honest about it that we'll speak in the new year. With the owners and obviously sit down with Adam, so it hasn't changed.
Leeds were looking to continue their latest good run against Reading. A win would make it a 5th in 7 league outings for Simon Grayson's men. But it was the visitors who got off to the perfect start in this one. Their first attack of the game and a goal from Simon Church. He scored 2 in last week's win over West Ham. The visitors were in the ascendancy and pressed to make it 2. Joby McAnuff unable to find the target here. But McAnuff hadn't quite finished. Having been set up by Adam Lafondre, his shot was saved by Andy Lonergan, and Lafondre couldn't quite follow up. But Leeds weren't about to let this one go as they created chances of their own. Robert Snodgrass crossing for Ross McCormack, who could only fire his header straight at Adam Federici. After the break, the hosts continued to create chances, but were lacking that killer edge. Adam Clayton's clever flick, easily dealt with by Federici. It was Leeds' 3rd home defeat and Reading's first ever league win at Ellen Road.
We thought the first half we were excellent. We had 2 or 3 opportunities. We've taken one, and maybe if we could have got that second one, it would have been a wee bit more comfortable. But the second half, it was a day for leaders, and we had them all over the pitch today.
Brighton went into their clash with Eddie Howe's Burnley just 1 place off a coveted playoff spot, and a win would see them secure a 4th successive league victory at the Amex. This was a game with plenty of talking points, and with barely 5 minutes gone, Brighton were down to 10 men. Roman Vansalo involved in an off-the-ball altercation with Marvin Bartley, and after deliberating with his assistant, the referee Craig Pawson saw fit to show him a straight red card. Incredibly, that was just the beginning, as 6 minutes later there was a second dismissal. And surprisingly, after this challenge, it was for a Brighton player, Ashley Barnes, feeling the wrath of Pawson following his scuffle with Chris McCann. So Brighton down to 9 men. Surely it was only a matter of time before Burnley could make their numerical advantage count. Kieran Trippier choosing the perfect time to rifle in his first league goal of the season. And the hosts had Kasper Ankergren to thank for keeping the deficit to 1, the Danish keeper at his very best to deny Dean Marney. The Seagulls almost drew level, but Craig McHale-Smith couldn't beat either Lee Grant or David Edgar. 1-0 it finished, but Gus Poyet was full of praise for his players, despite ending the game with 9 men.
I'm not going to talk about the ref, I'm going to talk about the outstanding effort and commitment from the players, the way they understood what it was needed to hold, to wait, to defend, to put the bodies in everything that was coming into the box and wait for that chance.
Blackpool don't do goalless draws. They've yet to be involved in one this season. And the Tangerines came close to finding the Watford net as early as the 7th minute. The chance created after a lengthy run by Phillips, not Kevin, he was on the bench, but Matt. Ian Holloway's side haven't lost a league game this season in which they opened the scoring. Their only problem in this match was actually doing that. Lemana Luar just failing to convert Callum McManaman's cross. Luar has been impressive since he arrived at Bloomfield Road. The Congolese international is still waiting for his first goal on home soil, but that post was becoming a ball magnet. In nearly 350 league appearances, Gary Taylor-Fletcher has scored nearly 100 goals. In the second half, he had not 1, but 2 chances to close in on his century. But the Hornets were looking to complete back-to-back away wins, having won last time out at Ipswich, and Prince Boaben should have put them ahead with 25 minutes to go. Kevin Phillips replaced Luar after 67 minutes for Blackpool and almost inevitably had a great chance to win it, thanks to Matt Phillips. But not this time, so Blackpool do goalless draws, and Watford's Sean Dyche left the happier of the 2 managers at the end.
Doncaster Rovers went into their match against Leicester City with a record that didn't exactly inspire confidence. Second from bottom before this one, Dean Saunders' team had lost 13 of their 21 league outings. And things looked grim after 38 minutes. Steve Howard passed to David Nugent, who nipped the ball over Gary Woods for his 7th league goal of the season. The last time Rovers beat their opponents was way back in 1955, and they came out all guns blazing in the second half. Billy Sharp in the right place to nod home Marc-Antoine Fortunet's cross to level things. In sharp, Donny have a man capable of turning a match in an instant, and 2 minutes later he did just that. The talismanic striker with this acrobatic effort to score his 9th league goal in 15 appearances this season and put the home side ahead. The Foxes had their chances to level things. Paul Gallagher's deflected shot just the wrong side of the post as Rovers take 3 crucial points.
That was a big win. We've been playing well over it. It's been coming, you know. I thought we should have got something out of the Birmingham game last week, and Millwall. We beat Southampton. So the boys are taking things on board, and we're a lot more difficult to beat.
Last week's stunning comeback against Barnsley saw Ipswich end their 7-game losing league run. Nigel Clough's Derby recently ended a losing streak of their own, but confidence was high amongst Paul Jewell's side. There were plenty of chances in an entertaining first half. Keith Andrews testing Derby stopper Frank Fielding with this long-range effort. At the other end, Ipswich had their goalkeeper Aaron Lee Barrett to thank for keeping them in it, this stunning reflex save denying Craig Bryson. The keeper in goal because loanee David Stockdale was recalled by Fulham. And the new boy was busy. Jamie Ward this time unable to get past not once, but twice. Now, whatever Ipswich boss Paul Jewell has been saying in his half-time team talks lately, it must be good, as 29 seconds after the restart they were ahead, Keith Andrews rising highest to meet Aaron Cresswell's cross. Referee David Webb thought John Brayford had cleared the ball off the line, but after consulting his assistant, he gave the goal. The home side could have made it 2 had J. Emmanuel Thomas not got in the way of Jimmy Bullard's volley, but it meant back-to-back wins for Ipswich and 6 defeats in 8 for a frustrated Nigel Clough.
We can't tell if it was over the line or not. We were a bit frustrated because it wasn't given straight away. I thought if the linesman had seen it over the line, he would have put his flag up accordingly. But to play on for, what did we play, 4 or 5 seconds on, and the goal not to be given, and then to go back and give it was a bit frustrating.
Well, I've got a different take on that. I think you should give every manager, every coach, whatever you want to call them, 2 calls a half, and then you could use that call up for whatever decision you wanted. Then you got four calls on the referee during the game, and I think we'd all be happier.
Last week's appearance of former chairman and current head of football operations Ken DeLue on the Coventry bench at home to Hull sparked outrage amongst Sky Blues fans. He stayed clear of the technical area at London Road. Whether his absence had any effect on Coventry is debatable, but the Sky Blues certainly had the better of the first half chances. This header from Lukas Jutkovic should have really hit the target. Peterborough's only effort of note in the opening 45 came from Lee Tomlin. Given his accuracy, it wasn't hard to see why the Posh hadn't won in their last 5. The deadlock was broken on 66 minutes when Paul Taylor, after forcing a good save from Joe Murphy, found Emil Sinclair, who scored his 6th league goal of the season. Peterborough rode their luck in the second half to keep a first clean sheet of the campaign. Coventry's Gary Gardner hitting the woodwork. Worrying times for Andy Thorne's side, who are now 8 points from safety.
Forest last lost to Bristol City in 1974 when Barry White's My First, My Last, My Everything was #1. Steve Cotterill wants, well, my anything at the moment, with no goal or point in 4 matches. And it was another #1 who stopped them here, David James producing the save of the match to keep out Marcus Tudgay's volley. That was Forest's only real chance in a dire first half. Bristol City's best effort came courtesy of Martin Woolford. It came after a slick passing move, but it ended with a poor end product. The way things were going, that Barry White stat looked safe. Lee Camp then showed that anything David James could do, he could do just as well. Marvin Elliott and Albert Adoma both left wondering what they had to do to beat the Forest keeper, whose smile said it all. Forest posed the greater threat as the game moved towards its conclusion. Greg Cunningham's speculative effort brought another stunning save from James. He was then called upon for a final time as he denied Tudgay again. So the Barry White statistic remains, and Steve Cotterill's Forest have now gone 5 matches without a goal.
The reason we haven't scored today is because of David James. You know, the contact's been there, the accuracy's been there, we've been on target, we've created chances again. I think we've played with great energy, a fantastic spirit, and it will be only a matter of time before those chances go in.
Yeah, Forest unable to get past David James in inspirational form there for Bristol City. Ipswich beating Derby, we saw there, Leroy, coming through a contentious goal. Paul Jewell, as a result, believes that we should get video referrals into the game. Now, it brings up the whole thing about video technology. He thinks each manager should get 2 referrals in each half. A bit like tennis, a bit like cricket.
I'm not too keen on that idea. Definitely goal line technology, that's a given, you know, when things like this happen. But, you know, if you get 2 referrals, I promise you that a manager would refer a decision and they still wouldn't come to an agreement as to what was the right decision. So I don't think it'll work.
The linesman didn't give the goal at the time, but then changed his mind. I mean, that's confusing for everybody.
Well, it's ridiculous. If he knows it's gone over the line, why didn't he put his flag up straight away? Why does he need a referee to go over and have a word? It just brings up all sorts of problems. And, you know, I can't see how he could have given that goal, because from where I was, I couldn't tell whether it was over the line or not.
There was also an eventful game at the Amex with, of course, Brighton losing 2 players and Gus Poyet storming off. But he came back on, of course, and it's quite ironic in many ways because Eddie Howe had all his strikers fit, all 4 of them, and then his fullback Kieran Trippier, comes up with an absolute screamer.
He was a good player, Kieran Trippier. He's on loan from Man City. He's an England under-21 player, so he's got lots of quality. But that's what you need when your strikers, it's not happening for them. You need someone to come up with a strike like that. And you know, Brighton, you know, down to 9 men, it's tough for Gus to take, I'm sure. But a good win for Ernie Howe and his young team.
Well done to Hull and Nick Barmby as well. 4 wins in a row now for the rookie manager. Obviously, you know, you've got Liam over there at the KC Stadium. They clearly enjoy playing under Nick Barmby. Surely it's now a matter of time before they give him the job full time.
I don't think they should give him the job, keep him as caretaker manager.
Because it's clearly working.
It's clearly working. Why change something if it's not broke? You know, and he's gone in there, big transition. It wasn't just the manager and coaching staff. The goalkeeping coach has gone there now, and Nick's just seamlessly kept it going. And they've won 4 in a row now, and they're looking at a better side. They're progressing nicely.
And they said it would never happen, but Peterborough finally kept their first clean sheet of the season. It's long overdue, and obviously now Darren Ferguson will be desperate that they build on that now.
Absolutely, 3 points, clean sheet. It's just what he wanted, and he got it. It was a good performance by him today.
Certainly was. Right, on to League One then. And if you're a Charlton fan, then you'll be celebrating Christmas Day at the top of the tree. The Addicts went into today's game against Oldham 5 points clear of the chasing pack and clearly enjoying life under Chris Powell. Well, could he survive a visit from our very own Ebenezer Scrooge?
Ho, ho, ho! Be off with you, you horrible kids! Actually, after the misery of their past few seasons, these really are wonderful times for Charlton. Remember, they were a Premier League team just 5 years ago before those 2 rapid relegations. But they've found salvation in the safe hands of a familiar face.
Hi, Cliff.
It must be a lovely, lovely feeling to give the fans something to cheer about, to give them such a great Christmas. So far?
So far, absolutely. No, I love this place. Everyone knows my time here as a player was during a real wonderful spell for the club. And yeah, there's no hiding from the fact of what's happened to us. But now we're looking for new history.
For the first time in a long while, I can say Merry Christmas to a Charlton fan.
Thank you. Really looking forward to it. We're playing well. Hopefully we'll keep going. It's the best time to be a Charlton fan for many, many years.
We're going back up again, and that is absolutely brilliant. And it's going to be a marvellous Christmas.
We even got people like Jason Yule and Chris Powell back, so it's like the Premiership years again anyway.
Huge changes. 21 in, 18 out, and yet you seem to have circumvented this whole idea that it takes a while to gel. I mean, how? What have you done?
Alongside myself, my assistant manager and first team coach and goalkeeping coach, you know, with the football staff, I think all the plaudits got to go to the players, because I think they've, you know, I've told them what I wanted and what my vision is for the club, and they've all bought into it.
So you leave when the club's in the Premier League, you come back in League One. You can't turn your back for 2 minutes these days, can you?
No, I mean, you know, football's like it changes so quick, but no, I'm happy to be back. It's a club close to my heart, and when I came down initially to train and spoke about contracts, I thought it was the only thing that I could do to come back.
Where are you and Chris now? Because obviously you're busy mates, but he's now gaffer. We've had a few little teething problems along the way, haven't we?
Yeah, we did. When I first came in, I carried on calling him Powley, and I got pulled up by the staff just to say that I can't do that. So there was a few teething problems, but now I've got it to a T now that he is gaffer.
Fat man's ready for you, sir? Is the nicest man in football still the nicest man in football, or has he had to change a bit and be a bit muddier?
I'd take, I've got a way with people, and I like to treat my players and everyone as human beings, because...
But have you got it in your locker, Chris?
Of course I have, yeah.
They may be excited about the future, but they don't forget their past. There's a minute's applause at the Valley this afternoon in memory of Peter Croker, who died recently, the last surviving member of Charlton's 1947 FA Cup winning team.
There was nothing to separate the sides at the Valley in the first half. Danny Green did show the Oldham defence a clean pair of heels at one point, but the shot bobbled wide of the mark. And it took the agility of Ben Hamer at the other end to make sure the leaders went to the break on level terms. Chris Taylor only had one thing in mind as the ball ran into his path, unleashing a ferocious effort. Charlton's response was a bright start to the second period, which bore fruit when Matt Taylor sized up the perfect cross and Darryl Russell found a hole in the Oldham backline. His first goal for the club on loan from Preston. Still, as a player, Latics boss Paul Dickoff was always happy to chase what others might consider a lost cause, and his team followed the example. The energetic Taylor teeing up Felipe Moraes with just 6 minutes left. 4 draws in a row on the road for Oldham, and irritation for the Addicts.
Chris, we can't all get the exact Christmas present that we want.
Well, in some ways we've still got the one we want because we remain top over Christmas, but tough game today. I mean, we went ahead. It was a real sort of resilient performance by Oldham. I'll give them the credit they deserve, and really we had 1 or 2 situations we could have got the 3 points, but we haven't lost, and we move on.
Yeah, well, at the end of it, a good point for Oldham, but Charlton can look back at a terrific start to the season, Leroy. Up until Christmas now, 1 defeat in 21 games. I mean, all round, it's been a great team performance.
It certainly has, and Bradley Wright-Phillips has been getting a lot of plaudits for goal.
Quite rightly so.
Yeah, getting all the goals. I mean, there's a team that scored 44 goals, but Chris Powell will be interested in the stat they've only conceded 16, and that's down to the likes of Morrison and Matt Taylor. And in midfield, Danny Hollins has played extremely well as well. But as a team, I could go on, and it was a team that's put together very quickly, so you must be delighted.
Well, that draw for Charlton meant there was even more to play for at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday and Huddersfield tried to close the gap on the league leaders. It was 2nd v 4th, and it didn't disappoint.
A family at war as Jordan Rhodes paid his old man a visit. The striker's father is the goalkeeping coach at Hillsborough, which added extra spice to a pulsating Yorkshire derby. A rollercoaster of a game took just 12 minutes to come alive. No prizes for guessing who was on the end of Gary Roberts' cross. Rhodes' 14th of the campaign gave Huddersfield a dream start. And stunned by the early blow, Wednesday conceded again just 4 minutes later. Roberts delivering the perfect cross for Rhodes to double the advantage. Wednesday's unbeaten run at home was now in serious jeopardy, but just 10 minutes later they were given a lifeline. Ben Marshall supplying the cross for Rob Jones, who thundered the Owls back into contention. The 28,000 plus crowd were now in for a real treat, and just 4 minutes later Wednesday were all square. Sanchez Watt's effort deflected off the bar, and Ian Bennett had to be sharp to keep out Chris O'Grady. Huddersfield appeared to be out of danger until Reader Johnson pounced to send the teams to the break all square. A gripping first half was followed by a sensational second, and having fought back from 2-0 down, Gary Megson's men now had the momentum. Marshall a man on a mission as the Owls forged ahead. After a finish like that, it's not hard to see why they want to keep the Stoke low knee on a permanent basis. And a stunning turnaround was complete when Chris O'Grady flicked in his 3rd of the season to take the score to 4-2. That put Wednesday on course for a 4th successive league win, but Lee Clark's men were far from finished. 3 minutes after that, Roberts teed up Rhodes for his hat-trick. His 4th treble for club and country set up a grandstand finish. Then in the 7th minute of injury time, Huddersfield clinched a share of the points. Skipper Peter Clark playing in Rhodes, who finished with aplomb. Truly outstanding entertainment.
It's special. You know, it means a lot to come here and score goals, because my father works here, and you know, lots of friends, and to come here and score a goal. I've not scored before, so I'd have taken the goal before the game, but I mean, you know, it's about the team, and unfortunately we got a point.
Instead of just character, heart, desire and all that, it needed a little bit of know-how and a little bit of savvy to just see the game out, and we didn't have that.
Yeah, what an amazing game at Hillsborough. That's 25 goals now in 25 games for both club and country for Jordan Rhodes. It was interesting, this one, because Gary Megson was asked, will you go and seek some advice from your goalkeeping coach, Andy, who happens to be Jordan's father, about how do you stop your son? But he decided not to. He thought it was unprofessional. Is he going to be regretting that tonight?
Well, he might. I'm sure Gary knows enough about Jordan Rhodes, and I think the answer from his dad would have been that he's unstoppable, because at the moment, when he gets a chance, he puts them away. 2 great headers, another great finish, and this was the 4th one. I think the best one of the lot.
He took it early, didn't he?
Takes the goalkeeper out of the equation and just instinctively slides it into the corner. And I think all the Rose family would be happy this evening with the way that finished.
Great celebrations. Goalkeepers in on the act as well. Well, no doubt third place MK Dons would have been aware of it before they took to the pitch in the late kick-off. Carl Robinson's side had won their last 5 league games and were up against a Preston team who parted company with manager Phil Brown in midweek. Well, Carl Robinson made one change from the win at Tranmere. Stephen Gleeson came in for the suspended Sean Williams. Preston caretaker managers Graham Alexander and David Unsworth made 3 changes from last weekend's goalless draw against Stevenage, as Ian Hume, Paul Coots and Stephen Smith all started.
Lewington clear now, Ibere beneath the ball, given away straight to Danny Mayer here. That could be costly. Danny Mayer takes on Lewington. He's got Hume with him and also Gray. And Danny Mayer's cross towards the far post here. Super goal, Paul Parry at the far post. After MK Dons failed to clear their lines there. And that hesitation punished. And the first goal for North End post Phil Brown is scored by Paul Parry with an imperious header. Really well carved out, crafted goal here by Preston. Parry has it, 1-0 North End lead. Great delivery, and he got the header it deserved. MK Dons, who could go third today, are behind. Oh, Mellor gets away here. He gave the slip rather to Smith, and Mellor now into Coots. Coots in again here for Preston, hits the post. Well, North End here have begun this game magnificently. Amazing what a change of manager can do to lift a team and to re-energise in terms of self-belief and confidence. Here, Coots and Mellor combined, just kisses the post there from Coots. This could have been 2-0. Away by Morgan, comes back out to Bodic here now. Bodic with a good-looking cross, and Mackenzie's header. Mackenzie hasn't scored a league goal so far this season. There he got away from his marker for a split second, didn't he? Rare opening here in this first half for a below-par MK Dons. McDonald, who was starved of first-half service, gets away here from McComb, or at least tries to. McComb there tugged him back. Yellow card coming here, at least for Jamie McComb. McComb was in the last team to win a league game here for Huddersfield back in April. McDonald here trying to spin away. He's got a good turn of pace as the ex-Brentford man. All they want for Christmas is a new manager. Here's Ibere for MK Dons. Adam Smith in the centre, McDonald is waiting. Smith towards McDonald here. Kept alive by Chadwick. Chadwick's cross, McDonald got a nudge in the back from Morgan. Gleeson, good save Stuckman. Well, the German goalkeeper down there to make a very smart save. As Preston try and counter themselves now with Barton. Smith pushing on from full-back. Well, Torsten Stuckmann showing why he's the man in possession of the goalkeeper's jersey right now for Preston North End. Darren Potter. Chadwick has Lewington inside. This is Dean Lewington. Lewington. Here's Ibere. Chadwick! Stuckmann turns it away, and it wouldn't quite fall for Bodic. Chadwick here began the move, combined well with Dean Lewington. Good touch of Ibere to play Chadwick in a first-time shot, which was turned away by the impressive Stuckmann. Smith, and then a pull back on McDonald. And McComb, who's already got a yellow card to his name. Carl Robinson, I feel sure, will feel this was a foul. That could easily have been a second yellow card, couldn't it? Now Sumu. Coots. Here comes the counter. McLaughlin now has space to work with perhaps. He's got Sumu up with him. On the counter here, Preston now with McLaughlin! Nearly the clincher. Nearly a wrap to the points there and then. Never scored a senior goal. That was mighty close, kissed the post.
What a start.
Well, it's a great start. Me and Graham are delighted for the players. They've put an unbelievable shift in tonight, and they've worked the socks off for the whole game. Put the bodies on the line, and all the staff that were here today, we're very proud of them and delighted for the players.
They've come here, they've had a game plan. They got ahead when they were on top, and I thought then for the last 75 minutes it was just backs against the wall, and you speak to their defenders coming off, saying that obviously they found it difficult, although I thought one of them should have been blatantly sent off.
Jamie McComb, you mean there?
Obviously you know as well, yeah. What I will say is, obviously I know I don't want to get myself in trouble, but the exact terminology, he slipped. Now I don't know many strikers who are bearing down on goal would want to slip. I don't understand that.
Well, we saw Carl Robinson there fuming, thinking that Jamie McComb should have been given his marching orders. Leroy, what do you think? Was this worthy of a second yellow?
Well, I had to look at it again, in all honesty, and when I saw it the second time, I think it was. You know, it's Charlie McDonald just rolls him, and there you're not quite sure if it's Charlie going down easily or whether Jamie's got hold of him. But you look at it from a better angle, and you just see there's Charlie rolls him, that he does. He has got hold of him, and he brings him down. And in fairness to the referee, it's a tough one for him. It's one that Jamie McComb got away with, and he went on to have a very good game and certainly influenced the game. At
the end of it, it was a terrific win for Preston. I mean, they're unbeaten in 3 now. Where do they go from here, Leroy? Are you surprised they got rid of Phil Brown, considering, well, after this win now, they're 3 points away off the playoffs?
Well, if they're going to get rid of him, I thought they might get rid of him while they were losing games, but they've gone into a run.
Not unbeaten after 2.
They're not conceding goals. The spirit was tremendous today, and it was a great goal as well from Parry. But, you know, Peter Risdale's gone in there as a new chairman, and you just wondered, you know, did he feel that he could have a relationship with Phil Brown? Obviously not, and that's why Phil's gone. And, but where do they go from there? Well, they're just 3 points off the playoffs now, and they've got a good squad with a good spirit. They need someone to go and take that forward. But I do feel for Phil Brown, it's unfortunate for him.
On the rest of League One now, and the meeting of 2 informed sides as Bournemouth squared up to Sheffield United.
Who needs strikers like Ched Evans to score for a 6th successive game when the opposition can do it for you? The Blades' 13-goal marksman forced 2 own goals from Cherry's defenders. The first after 5 minutes when Adam Barrett sliced into his own net, although Evans felt he deserved some of the credit. It was a case of deja vu in the second half after another raid down the flank by the Welshman. This time it was on loan Brighton defender Steve Cook who mirrored his teammate Barrett. It ended the Cherries' 6-match unbeaten run, whilst the Blades have won half a dozen on the bounce.
Midfielder Mark Carrington's waited months to take his bow for Bury. His breakthrough at Gig Lane stalled by a blood clot. And his long-awaited debut turned sour just before the hour mark as Carrington's mistimed tackle saw Toumani Diagouraga go to ground. Brentford's Gary Alexander took the spot kick in his stride. And there was a further blow for Bury with 12 minutes left. Joe Scars was late with his challenge too. A second booking for the foul on Jonathan Douglas meant Richie Barker's men appeared to be on track for back-to-back defeats. Fortunately for the 10 men, they had a potent weapon in reserve. Lionel John Lewis doesn't boast a great goal-scoring record, but he's in fine form. A draw salvaged by his third in 4 games, all after coming off the bench.
In his 3 years in charge, Greg Abbott had never won 3 games on the bounce, so when Rory Loy opened the scoring just 2 minutes in against Wycombe, the signs looked promising. Christmas in the top 6 now seemed a real possibility, but the strugglers refused to be affected by the early setback and produced a spirited response. The width of the post denied them a deserved equaliser. Marcello Trotta frustrated by the woodwork and then by the referee, who ignored his appeals for a penalty. But Gary Waddock's men finally made their pressure count just before the half hour. A beauty from Anthony McNamee brought them level. The MK Dons loanee also scored in last week's crucial win over Chesterfield, which appears to have breathed new life into their survival challenge. Just 8 minutes after the equaliser, Stuart Bevan's clever pass picked out Trotter, who made the finish look simple. That goal put Wycombe on course for their first win on the road since mid-October, but just 4 minutes from the end, Carlisle salvaged the point that keeps them on the fringes of the playoff places. Not for the first time this season, substitute Francois Zoko came to their rescue.
We've battled away and we've got what might turn out to be a really, really important point, and it keeps that momentum going of not getting beaten, and we certainly go into next week's game a lot better off for getting the equaliser than we would have done if we hadn't done.
Notts County manager Martin Allen says he has a responsibility to lift the spirits of the fans in these hard times. Allen judges Bar Rattler may have given them great expectations, but they left a bleak house at Meadow Lane. Former county boss Russell Slade's side provided the twist in this tale, Stephen Dawson playing the role of Oliver, picking Jeff Hughes' pocket before rifling home his first league goal of the season, a strike which left the O's jumping for joy before the break. 5 minutes from time, an awful misjudgment from county defender Mike Edwards allowed substitute David Mooney to link up with Jonathan Tahui, the Frenchman evading Sam Sodji to score in consecutive games. Lee Hughes' first goal for nearly 3 months was an immediate response from the hosts, who then missed a glorious chance to steal a point in added time. A flicked header from Hughes allowed namesake Jeff to charge into the penalty area, where he was pulled back by Leon McSweeney. With the penalty awarded, McSweeney saw red as County's top scorer Hughes looked to take his season's tally into double figures. But Lee Butcher's double save from a spot kick and Carl Hawley's follow-up gave the O's a precious victory and inflicted a first home league defeat upon County in 9 league games.
Les Parry insisted his Tranmere team had the better of the first half at Stevenage, but they went to the break behind. Chris Beardsley hooking home Laurie Wilson's long throw to leave Rovers fearing a 4th successive league defeat. Their bid to avoid that fate received a boost 20 minutes from time as Paul Rahubka took exception to Ben May's challenge. The Stevenage forward did his cause no good by continuing the argument, and referee David Phillips sided with the keeper. Graham Wesley's men shrugged off the setback, Mark Roberts putting the result beyond doubt with 6 minutes to go as Stevenage stretched their unbeaten league run to 9 matches. The only annoyance for the Borough boss was seeing his side's string of clean sheets come to an end, with Mark McChrystal dragged down at the far post. So Rovers' Joss Labadie duly became the first man to score against Stevenage in 5 matches, but too late to make a difference.
A big job for whoever takes over from Mick Wadsworth at Hartlepool, sentenced to an 8th successive home defeat by Colchester. Anthony Wordsworth delivered the decisive blow in the first half, a win that moves the Essex club to within 4 points of a playoff place.
With the hosts averaging a point a game up against the division's draw specialists, the outcome was inevitable. Exeter have now failed to score in a dozen league matches, and Scunthorpe keeper Sam Johnson was the first to repel the Grecians' advances by denying Chris Hackett. A run of 7 games without a win for the Iron was almost ended by Michael O'Connor's long-range chip, but a backpedalling Artur Krysiak did well to push it over the bar. But Exeter should have commemorated manager Paul Tisdale's 2000th day in charge with a late winner, when Jake Taylor beat every obstacle in his path but the crossbar.
A big hand for Yeovil keeper Rennie Gilmartin. On second thoughts, he's already got one after this. Evidently, if anything's more painful than dislocating your finger, it's having it fixed. Gilmartin played through the pain, making several fine saves, which meant even after Kerry Gilbert was sent off for a thunderous challenge, Rochdale were unable to capitalise. Gilmartin's best save came from the resulting free kick, those swollen digits defying Harry Bunn.
Chesterfield boss John Sheridan was given the vote of confidence this week, the club's owner refusing to panic despite a winless run that now stands at 12 games. Walsall are one of the teams they're hoping to catch. Alex Nicholls' first half strike made the task look even bigger. Dean Smith's team were now heading for their first away win since the end of August, but after the break came under increasing pressure. Danny Whittaker went close to levelling the scores. Victory would have pulled the Saddlers out of the bottom four, but Jack Lester pinched a point for the bottom club right at the death. But the Spirites are still 5 points from safety.
Yeah, that point for either Chesterfield or Walsall doing neither of those sides much good. But we saw Stevenage now extend their unbeaten run to 10 in all competitions. I mean, it's been a great season for them, hasn't it? Considering only, what, 2 seasons ago they were in the non-league?
Yeah, Graham Wesley's done a fantastic job there. Been in the non-league a long time, and he's relishing his time in the league now. They have been called overly physical.
Yeah, which he doesn't like.
He doesn't like. I'll take out the overly, because they can be physical at times. I don't think Graham will mind that, because he wants his sides to be competitive, and they're certainly that.
We saw Leighton Orient ride their luck, it has to be said, against Notts County on Saturday. But it's been very much a season of two halves. I think 1 win in the first 10 and now 1 defeat in 11. It's been some turnaround.
I'm really pleased for Russell Slade, and Barry Hearn deserves credit for sticking with a good manager who knows his stuff at that level. And the first 10 games, they didn't get much luck, but they, as you said, they rode their luck against Notts County and got their just desserts. Not in that 90 minutes, but in the season as a whole. You know, some things haven't gone from, but all of a sudden, all that little bit, those bits of luck are still starting to go their way.
Back-to-back wins now for Colchester. And by the way, if you're one of the 52 fans who made that long trip up to Hartlepool, well done to you. I'll be astonished if you're back at home to watch this tonight. But nonetheless, Hartlepool, though, 8 defeats in a row at home. Obviously, part of the reason why they parted company with Mick Wadsworth, they need to get someone in quickly, don't they?
They do, and their home form is abysmal. You know, Mickey Barron is the caretaker manager there, but I just feel they need a permanent appointment. You know, Phil Brown's available. He's a lad from the northeast. He'll know the club. It's a club that, you know, they need some direction, and they need it very, very quickly.
We saw a good win there for Sheffield United away to Bournemouth. They continue to keep up the pace with those teams above them, don't they?
Yeah, another clean sheet for Danny's side. And you know, I thought this would be an interesting game because there's been an upturn in form at Bournemouth, but you know, a couple of own goals as well. But it doesn't matter. You know, they keep moving forward.
And do you think both? Do you think they can get James Beattie back to full fitness in some time soon? Because he's come obviously without having played a game for some time now.
Well, I think they can, but they need to get him playing. You know, there's so much you can do in training, but he needs games. You know, and they need to try and introduce him into games. You know, maybe off the subs bench. But you know, if they can get him anywhere near, not even not fully fit, but anywhere near what he's capable of, he'll be a real threat in this division.
He certainly will be. On to League Two now. And the race to be Christmas number 1 was still to be decided going into the weekend. Crawley's motivation going into their game was to extend their 12-game unbeaten run away to Crewe.
Steve Davis declared himself a proud man as Crewe pocketed a point against leaders Crawley. The game just 9 minutes old when Byron Moore sent over an inviting cross, and right on cue Wes Fletcher arrived to give Crewe the lead. But Crewe saw their chances of causing a major upset reduced on the quarter hour. Sean Miller flying in on Sergio Torres, leaving referee Stuart Atwell reaching for the red card. It now seemed only a matter of time before Crawley found their equaliser, and they drew level when Matt Tubbs flicked in his 15th of the season. The Sussex club now 4 points clear at the top.
Southend are suffering a dip in form. Their 4th defeat in 11 days, the 2nd in the league, the most surprising so far. Lowly Bradford's Friday night win was their first on the road this season and first ever at Roots Hall. Luke Oliver, the man they had to thank.
Barnet denied Cheltenham a first ever league win at Underhill by fighting back twice to secure a draw. They fell behind when Qaid Mohammed firmly headed home Marlon Pat's corner. But the Bees' Sam Deering proved the old adage that patience is a virtue as he waited for the right moment before delivering the cross for Eisel McLeod to equalise. Cheltenham boss Mark Yates said his side lacked the energy of suspended midfielder Russell Penn. But if they were to miss that pen, they scored with another to lead at half-time, after Mark Hughes had fouled Mohammed. Darryl Duffy showed no mercy from the spot, a decision which left Bees boss Laurie Sanchez fuming as he was sent to the stands for the second half. His mood was lifted when Sido Djambotti's inability to keep pace with McLeod on the hour led to Barnett's second equaliser. Yates excused the Portuguese defender's error, saying it was his first mistake in 15 games. McLeod was less charitable, with his 18th goal of the season denying Cheltenham a club record 9th consecutive away win.
Shrewsbury maintained their unbeaten home record thanks to a goal early in the second half from Shane Cansdell-Sheriff. That header proved to be the difference against a Macclesfield side unbeaten in their 4 previous outings. But the home side's margin of success would have been greater had James Collins pulled his shot a few inches to the right. Nonetheless, Graham Turner's team handily placed in 4th.
You won't see many free kicks better than this at any level this season. A touch of class from Mickey Spillane that had the bottom club Dagenham and Redbridge hoping for just their 2nd league win since the start of September. Instead, they had to make do with avoiding a 10th straight league defeat, denied the maximum return by Calvin Zola's second half header. Ultimately, Burton Albion would have to consider this 2 points dropped. Abu Agogo's late challenge on Aaron Webster meant the Daggers spent the final half an hour a man light. Albion's players infuriated by the challenge and presumably frustrated by the result.
Swindon ran out comfortable victors over fellow promotion chasers Morecambe by extending their unbeaten run to 10 league games. Jake Jervis heading home the first after Liam Rydelshire's cross allowed him to score his 5th of the season. The killer goal came right on half-time when Rafael De Vita somehow beat a bewildered Andy Parrish to the ball by converting Matt Ritchie's cross. Substitute Ronan Murray wrapped up the scoring with his first league goal for the Robins, thanks to another Ritchie assist. The Ipswich loanee leaving Morecambe without a league win in 5 matches.
Having drawn blanks in their 2 previous league outings, Gillingham rediscovered their scoring touch to see off Bristol Rovers. Lewis Montrose headed them into an 8th-minute lead. The midfielder clearly got a kick out of scoring his first goal in 7 matches, and on the stroke of half-time, he went tumbling under Joe Anions's challenge. Rovers boss Paul Buckle felt that was the turning point, as Danny Kedwell blasted home to double the advantage. That meant Rovers were staring at a 5th game without a win, but just after the restart, Mustafa Carriol nipped in to raise hopes of a turnaround. Danny Jackman soon killed off any chance of that happening, restoring Gillingham's 2-goal cushion midway through the half. West Ham loanee Frank Nouble stinging the palms of Scott Bevan, with Jackman perfectly positioned for the follow-up. Andy Hessenthaler's men now firmly in control, and matters got worse for Buckle's men when Cian Bolger sent Curtis Weston flying. The Leicester loanee was shown the inevitable red card, leaving Kedwell on the spot for a 2nd time. The Kent club now 8 games unbeaten in all competitions.
Hard to pick a winner pre-match at the Crown Ground with both sides on song recently, but Brian Hughes gave Accrington the edge 13 minutes in. The veteran midfielder's first goal for more than 3.5 years. More trouble for Torquay by half-time. Rene Howe was nowhere near the ball as he caught Dean Winnard. The referee had no doubts about the colour of the card. Accrington pressed home their advantage midway through the second half. In spectacular style, teenager Jayden Stockley had them on course for a 3rd league win on the spin. But there was fresh hope for Torquay when the hosts also found themselves down to 10 men. Off the ball, Luke Joyce tangled with Mark Ellis. In the ref's eye line, it was another straight red. That made no difference for the Devon club. Manager Martin Ling said they'd surrendered their own 6-game unbeaten record with a whimper. 3 goals down with a minute to go as Kevin Long applied the finishing touch. The travelling fans that stuck around after that did get one thing to cheer, a breakaway goal from Chris McPhee in stoppage time. But this was definitely Accrington's afternoon.
Unspectacular but deserved was Hughes manager Chris Wilder's reaction to a first win in 7. The breakthrough came when John Johnson's clearance landed at Alfie Potter's feet. Tom Craddock spun before scoring his first of the season, a moment worth celebrating with the boss. Cobblers defender Johnson was fortunate not to gift Oxford another goal when he brought Craddock down in the area. But Craddock paid the price for taking spot kick duties away from first choice Peter Levin, finding the car park rather than the net. Johnson's respite from his tormentors was temporary. James Constable shoved him aside before helping Dean Smalley to slide home his first goal at the Cassan. Even Damien Batts handballed did little to help the Cobblers as Adi Akinfenwa saw his late penalty saved by Ryan Clark as they slipped to a 5th consecutive away league defeat.
It's fair to say Rotherham's promotion push is back on track, even though Andy Scott admitted his side were fortunate to win. Danny Harrison went close to breaking the deadlock, but in truth the Dons can count themselves desperately unlucky not to have taken at least a point. Danny Schofield's goal line clearance denied Lee Minshull. It means the Dons are now without a win in 9, and 12 minutes from time they were sent crashing to defeat by Sam Wood. That goal keeps the Millers in touch for the playoff pack.
Port Vale worked hard to get their game on. Some concerted shovelling saw the ref give the go-ahead after 2 pitch inspections, and no one was happier than the Valiant's Guy Maggio. Tom Pope's pass setting him up at the beginning of a memorable afternoon. The Cameroonian striker on loan from Stevenage made an excellent start to the second half too. Aldershot's defence unable to get to grips with Jennison Myrie-Williams, and the rest was simple for Maggio. He completed his hat-trick on the hour thanks to a terrific turn and pass by his strike partner. Divine intervention from Pope, you might say, and after some more tidy footwork, Maggio had the match ball in the bag. Mickey Adams' men well on course for back-to-back wins. Dean Holdsworth left to bemoan his team's lacklustre defending. Aldershot sliced open again as Sean Rigg completed the rout. Defensive fragility will be a major concern for the Shots, who've been struggling to score themselves. They found the net just once in 4 matches and couldn't manage it here, even after Clayton MacDonald tricked Ben Hurd. Michael Rankin the man on the spot, but that 0 stayed on the scoreline.
Hereford managed to avoid a 5th consecutive league defeat thanks to top scorer Tom Barkhuizen. Harry Pell's cut back after the hour, presenting him the chance to convert his 7th of the season. But how many times do defenders need to be told, don't let the ball bounce in the box? A trio of Hereford players failed to heed the warning before Nicky Featherstone fouled Warren Feeney. With regular taker Simon Walton substituted, Nick Chadwick scored from the spot for his 2nd in 3 games whilst on loan from Stockport. The Bulls already cautioned Michael Townsend, then saw red after upending Ashley Hemmings outside the area. And the Pilgrims almost made them pay when Chadwick volleyed over after being picked out by Conor Hurahan. The hosts also ended the game with 10 men when Darren Pearce received a straight red after this lunge at Nathan Elder. But the point sees the Bulls climb 1 place further away from the drop zone, in which Plymouth remain.
So Plymouth and Hereford sharing the points there, and interestingly Carl Fletcher admitted in midweek, Leroy, that he's using Sean O'Driscoll as a soundboard. Is that a move that you'd welcome?
Very sensible from any young manager in any situation. I mean, Plymouth are in a desperate situation, but he needs to get as much advice as he can, and then make his own decisions from there. But Sean's a real calming influence, and he knows him very well from their Bournemouth days.
Sure. As for Swindon, unbeaten now in 15 in all competitions. And this is interesting because after his extraordinary outburst after the Bristol Rovers draw last week, Paolo Di Canio, he was in serious danger of alienating himself from the dressing room, wasn't he? But he got a response from his players on Saturday.
Well, he seems to know his players better than anybody else, because a lot of players, I think, wouldn't have gone out and played like they did this week, but they seem to just react to him having a real go at them. And he got a great result. And as you said, 15 games unbeaten. It's working.
It certainly is. John Still will be relieved tonight. They've stopped the rot. 9 consecutive defeats against Burton, courtesy of an absolute screamer from their centre-half.
Well, any centre-half can do this is worth his weight in gold. It's a great strike from Michael Spillane. He celebrated it nicely as well.
After 4 blanks at home at Vale Park, Port Vale found themselves amongst the goals, didn't they? And lone players that can obviously be seen as a risk. How will they bed in with the other players at the club? But in Guy Maggio from Stevenage, he's a breath of fresh air there, isn't he?
He certainly is. I know a guy from when he went to Bristol City about 5 or 6 years ago. It didn't work out for him there. Then he dropped into non-league Forest Green Rovers. wasn't quite sure where he went from there. He's ended up at Stevenage and he's gone to Port Vale and he's got a terrific hat-trick. This third goal is an exceptional finish, and I think everybody always knew that he had this sort of ability. It hasn't come out, but it certainly looks like it's starting to come out of Port Vale.
Mickey Adams is working under tough conditions there, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, there were demonstrations there against the Bulls. You know, money that had been promised hasn't turned up. But what the fans got to understand is Mickey Adams has got a decent side there, just outside the playoffs, and he needs their support.
And the word for Shrewsbury, whose stunning home form continues, unbeaten in 16 now. Right, well, let's take a look then at the Christmas League tables before we go. In N-Power League 2, Crawley extend their lead at the top to 4 points despite drawing. That's after Southend lost on Friday evening. And with Cheltenham also failing to win, quite a few teams below them have made ground on the top 3. In fact, all those teams from 4th to 10th won, except for Bhasin. The bottom 2 both picked up a point but remain 3 points from safety. Northampton were the only side in the bottom 6 that lost over the weekend. Bradford got a great win on Friday at second place Southend, of course, and the only other team in the bottom half to win was Accrington. In League 1, Charlton still have a 5-point lead despite being held at home by Oldham, and that's because of Jordan Rhodes' late equaliser at Hillsborough in that amazing 4-4 draw. Sheffield United are up to 3rd and were the only side in the top 7 to win. The bottom 7 sides all drew on Saturday, and I'm sure some sides will be happier than others with their points, and there's now a gap opening up between those sides and Leyton Orient in 17th after they won at Notts County. Russell Slade's men were the only side in the bottom half that took all 3 points at the weekend. In the Championship, West Ham draw level on points with Southampton, who play at Portsmouth on Sunday. Middlesbrough move above Cardiff after that impressive win, as do Hull, who also won on Saturday. Reading, who won 1-0 at Ellen Road, and are now just 2 points behind Leeds. Coventry are now 8 points from safety after losing at Peterborough. Doncaster make ground on the 2 teams above them, who could only draw with each other at Ashton Gate. And remember, Palace host Birmingham on Monday night. Right, well, that's almost it from us, but don't forget the show is on the Red Button and on Freeview until midday on Sunday. It's also on the iPlayer all week, and if you're after extended match highlights of each game, you'll be able to see them on the BBC Sport website. And there's plenty of football to get your teeth into on Sunday, and how about this for a Championship lunchtime? It may be the season of goodwill, but how much of it will be on show as Portsmouth face Southampton? Join Jake for that one at 12:45 on BBC One. Well, another one not to miss is Match of the Day 2 on Sunday evening, and that's at 10 on 2 with Colin, which will of course include highlights of the game between leaders Manchester City and Arsenal. Well, that's it from us. Leroy, good to see you. Well, we've been treated to some great goals so far this season. Let's hope Christmas brings a few more. We'll see you soon. Good night.
It's Buckley in again. 2-1 Brighton! Nolan on the drive. What a goal, Kevin Nolan! Struck onwards and in! Oh, what a finish! Phillips tries and scores!
Up from here to De River. It's still De River! And for Norris!
Always to see a late winner. Colin with the shot! Yes, we are!
No flag. Good save, Roach. McDonald again! Wallace in the air. Oh, what with an absolutely stunning strike.
And Haroon chests it down, and Haroon has scored a brilliant goal. Good delivery and a goal. Ricky Lambert's goal drought is over.